Hello everyone, Nazir, and welcome in my second stream on my channel, Engineering with Mina. And through those streams, I'm trying to learn and build things with Rust. And as I'm passionate about Rust, still learning, I decided to share my knowledge and help others, and also help myself skill up through training and building stuff. In this second stream, or in this video, I'd love to build a simple another simple game, which is throwing the dice. And in this session, we will touch on so many aspects on Rust while building this game. We will touch on structs, we'll touch on modules, we will put it together to have like a running game on the terminal, and we'll do this together uh, today. Um, I want to mention that um, I'm still learning, and there are might be other solutions, and I'm open to feedback, and I'm open to questions and comments, and let's go. Let's start. So here in my demos directory, I will just create a new application called Dice. I name it maybe Dicey, and then I'll go to this Dicey application, and I'll open my code editor first, and then here I'll just test that everything is working. And yeah, and it looks good. Now let's start the build. Yeah, here in my source directory, I will create a new module, and I call this module dice. And in this dice, the problem we want to solve is you have a dice that you will throw that will give you a number between 1 and 6, which is the value on the dice face. And another thing, it should keep track of how many times you thrown this dice. So to do this, I will start with a struct in this module. It needs to be a public struct so we can use it in the main.rs and modify it. So public struct, I will call it dice. And for this dice, we should have two properties. First one, it is the value, and it's of type uSize. And second one should be the through count, and also it's of type uSize. And as I mentioned before in my previous video, uSize means unsigned integers to the type of the architecture of the machine. In my case, it's 64. And also for this struct, I will create an implementation for the struct, and this implementation will create a implementation for dice. And here, first function, I can call it create, and this create will work as a constructor in other languages. It will just instantiate a new instance of the dice struct and return it to the caller. So it will return here self. And as for sure, it needs to be public as well. So this will return self. Self value, and I will start with value 0. And as well, like I had the through count, I can also start with 0. So I can start with the value 0 and through count 0 because this is the initial state of this dice. And then I need another function. I can call it through the dice, which will represent when I am throwing the dice itself. And it should do two things, as I mentioned. First, it should track the number of throwing the dice, and then generates a random number as a value. And this shouldn't return anything, so I will keep it as young or blank. And then this should, and also, yeah, it accepts a self immutable reference to self. And here I'll say like first self dot value, and here we need the rand. I'll just put it as this, and then self dot through count, and I'll just increase whatever in this through count with 1. So each time I call this function, I will increase it with 1. Let's now handle the value. As we did before, we go to the cargo configuration file, and then I will request the rand crate. It's of 0.8.5, and then I'll go to my terminal and run cargo update. Yep, and should be good. And now in this, within my module, I'll just use rand rand range. I don't think it's updated. Okay, maybe it's on IDE. Let's open it. Yep. And here in the value, I use like rand, and here like I have threads range, and then I have like generation range, and this generation range will generate a number between 1 and 6, and 6 is included. I don't know why auto completion is not working, but I believe like it's right like that. So let's go to the main, and here let me start a new loop. So I need something that keeps asking the user for like his or her input. So here I just print something, please hit return to generate a or to through the dice, and then I'll go to open a loop. And as I mentioned before, I love naming my loops. It gives me more control. So within this loop, I'll just print something that the application is up and running. So I'll just hit return, and when the user, we need to have something that accepts the user input. So I will use the standard input output library, and here after I showed this message, I need a container for the user input. I won't do anything with it, but I'll just need it. So I'll define a new mutable user input variable of type string, and it will string new. This is generated on the heap, and then I will now take the input output. I'll call the standard in library, and then I'll read the line from the buffer, and I'll just assign it to the user input. Just for handling the errors, I use the except and error reading your input. This is just to handle any errors while reading from the standard input buffer. And now my application will start the loop, showing hit return, and then waiting for the user to input something. And when the user inputs something, so we need to do or need to have the struct and updated. So to do that, let's instantiate a new instance, and it will be also mutable, my dice1, and this will equal to, yeah, let's first import. Yeah, I know why the auto completion was not working. Bub module dice. Yeah, it was not working for that. I didn't define it. So it should be fine. Yeah. Okay. And then I will just use dice as dicey, just to avoid using the same name. And here in the my dice one, I'll go to instantiate a new instance of dicey, and then the struct dice into this module, and then I'll call the method create. And this will just give me a new instance of the struct I have in my module and bind it to my dice one. And just to make sure, we can just print that. The struct is, and then let's print my dice one. I believe it will throw an error related to formatting the object. Let's try it, and then I'll show you how to fix it. Yes, formatted. And then you'll go to the structs, and then here at the beginning of your struct definition, you start in a derive of type debug, and this like tells Rust how to deal with this object. And back to the print statement, here I'll just format it as pretty format. And now let's run it one more time. It should type, yeah, as you can see, it instantiated the struct, and then it printed the struct is dice and the value is 0 and the throw count is 0. So now this means like everything is working. Now let's continue the implementation. To remind you, I need just to hit enter or hit return to throw the dice and track the number of throwing the dice, and also showing or returning a random value between 1 and 6 to the end user. So I'm here standing at accepting input from the user. I now go like do my dice one, and I call throw the dice method that from the module. If we go to see it or check it on the module itself, it just adjusting the value to be a random number between 1 and 6, and here it tracking the throw count, or the number of times that we are throwing the dice. And for sure this is binded to my dice 1. Nothing prevents you from like defining my dice 2, my dice 3, etc. And now at this line 14, now I threw the dice already, so I can just print a statement that tells the user that we throw the dice and the value is like that. So dice throw count is, this is how many times you threw the dice, and then value of this throw is the value that was this time or was this attempted. So here it's just my dice one dot we need the count, so we have the through count. Maybe it's not appearing because yeah, we didn't make it public, so it should be public and it should be public. And this is very interesting and very good feature of Rust. Anything on Rust by default is private, and then you need to modify what you want to modify and define what you want to be public from your APIs. And this is a very good feature, by the way. So through count, and then my dice one dot value. Yeah, very good. Let's give it a try, the whole thing. And now like I hit return on my keyboard, and now like dice through count is 1, value of the through is 5, and this is 2 and 3, and so on. Just you can keep hitting return, and this will just throw the dice one more time and return value to you, and track how many times you thrown the dice. I think that's it. I'll commit this application to my repository on GitHub, and then I'll share the links below the video. As I mentioned at the beginning, I decided to do streams just to share my knowledge and help others and help myself skill up through practicing. I love the way of learning by practicing. I'm still at the very beginning of learning Rust. It's a passionate journey, and I'm passionate about Rust and passionate about it, and I'll go on and keep learning every day. My implementations is not perfect, but it's the best to my knowledge, and it's the best I can do. I know like you might have some other implementations, some other more advanced stuff. Like please share it with me or share your feedback. I'd love to go through it and learn from it. And I'm also open for feedback and questions. Um, I might come back in the future when I'm like more skilled and advanced interest and iterate on those videos and those implementations and change them. Thanks for watching so far. If you are on the live stream or watching the video on the replay, just please let me know what do you think. If you have any other ideas on how I can like improve this or maybe doing other stuff. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching and have a good day. Bye bye.